Hello viewers at home, I am the Yu-Gi-Oh! Critic, reviewing to you a lot of decks and packs, and today, the deck I'll review to you is the Dinosaur Structure Deck. Now this structure deck was the ninth structure deck to be released. There are 19 monster cards, 12 spell cards, and 9 trap cards. And we'll just jump to the monsters first. Starting with a level 8 Dino called Superconductor Tyranno. Well, here's what it'll look like. At 3,300 attack points strong, it comes with an ability where once a turn, by tributing a monster, you can inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. I know it sounds handy, but there's a drawback. If you do use its effect, it cannot hack that turn. So be careful if you want to use the effect. Next monster is a level 4 normal monster called Kapazals. Well, I know some of you may think normal monsters are useless, but there are some normal monsters with really high attack points that can come in handy. This next normal monster is one called Sabersaurus. 1900 attack points. Sounds promising. Now this next monster is called Mad Sword Beast. It's got a handy effect. If it attacks a monster in defense mode, it deals the difference to your opponent as damage. So no matter what your opponent does, they're not safe. Our next monster is Gillosaurus. Its effect allows you to special summon it from your hand, but your opponent gets to special summon a monster from their graveyard if you do that. There are 2 Gillosauruses in this deck. Next monster is Dark Triceratops. It comes with the same effect Mad Sword Beast has. When attacking a monster in defense mode, the difference is dealt as damage. The next monster is Hyper Hammerhead. When it attacks an opponent's monster, or unless the opponent's monster is destroyed by battle, it is returned to the owner's hand at the end of the damage step. And this deck comes with 2 Hyper Hammerheads for the price of 1. Pretty nice. For some. This next monster is Black Tyranno. If your opponent controls no cards except face-down defense position monsters, well, it doesn't have to be face down. This card can attack your opponent directly. Only when your opponent controls just defense position monsters only, whether they're face up or face down. Won't matter. Now this next dino is one called Tyranno Infinity. And this monster gains 1,000 attack points for every dinosaur type monster that you have removed from play. Which is nice in one way. Still. Now this next dino is called Hydrogeddon. And when this monster destroys your opponent's monster in battle, and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon another Hydrogeddon from your deck. And there's 2 Hydrogeddons in the deck. And now there's another monster called Oxygeddon. If this monster is destroyed by battle by your opponent's Pyro-type monster, both you and your opponent take 800 points of damage. And this next monster is Black Terra. If this monster is sent from the field to the graveyard, except by battle, it's returned to the owner's hand. So, suppose your opponent uses, like say, a Dark Hole or Raigeki to destroy all your monsters. Then you can get Black Terra to return to your hand. And that way. Another monster right here, Black Stego. When your opponent attacks this monster, this monster switches straight into defense mode. Which could be a good way to help defend your life points. Next monster here, Ultimate Tyranno. If this monster is in attack mode at the start of your battle phase, this card first must attack all your opponent's monsters once each. Every one. It must. If it's an attack mode, that is. And here's another monster, Miracle Jurassic Egg. I know it looks weak with 0 attack points, but it makes a great defender at 2,000 defense points. And it's 2 counters every time one of your dinosaur type monsters is sent to the graveyard. And if you tribute it, you can special summon one non-dinosaur type monster from your deck whose level is equal to or lower than the number of counters on it. And this card cannot be removed from play, as long as you have it on your side of the field. It'll face up. Last monster, Baby Ceratops. I know it looks weak with 500 attack and defense, but what it lacks in strength makes up for it with its effect. If it's destroyed by an effect and sent to the graveyard, you can select one level 4 lower monster, one dinosaur type monster from your deck and special summon it. It shows that some monster is lacking attack strength, makes up for it with its effects. Okay, that's the end of the monster cards. Now we're on to the spell cards. First up comes the normal monster card, Big Evolution Pill. You have to tribute one dinosaur type monster on your side of the field to activate this card. This stays on the field for 3 of your opponent's turns. And while it's face up on the field, you can summon one dinosaur type monster without tributes. Well, normal summon or set. Like Superconductor Tyranno, for example. Well, this next spell card is called Tail Swipe. It lets you select one level 5 or higher dinosaur type monster you have face up on the field to activate it. You select on a turn into the owner's hand up to 2 monsters that are the lower level than the selected monster, or face down on your opponent's side of the field. Now this next spell card is a field spell called Jurassic World. It gives every face-up dinosaur type monster an extra 300 attack and defense points. And now for this next spell card called Subix Blessing. It's a quick play spell card, but you can only activate during your battle phase if your opponent has been attacked directly by your monsters. And you gain life points equal to the amount of damage you'll deal to your opponent with a direct attack. I got here another spell card, a normal spell card called Uryoku. It's a handy spell. You have the attack points of one face-up monster, and add that same amount to the attack points of another face-up monster until the turn's end. And we've got another spell here called Mesmeric Control. Until during the opponent's next turn, after you activate this card, your opponent can't change the battle positions of monsters, except by a card effect. Now we've got another quick play spell card called Mystical Space Typhoon. And this quick play spell lets you destroy one spell or trap card on the field, whether it's your own spell or trap or your opponent's spell or trap, whether it's face up or face down. Here's an equipped spell card called Megamorph. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, the equipped monster's attack points are doubled. But if your life points are higher than your opponent's, the equipped monster's attack points are cut in half. I suggest waiting until your opponent's life points are higher than your own to use it. Now here's a normal spell card called Heavy Storm. This spell destroys every other spell and trap card that's out on the field. Now for this next spell, Lightning Vortex, you have to discard one card from your hand to use it. All your opponent's face-up monsters are destroyed. Right with this. Now for this spell, Magical Mallet. You select any number of cards in your hand, shuffle them into the deck, then draw the same number of cards you added to the deck. And this deck comes with 2 Magical Mallets. It's twice as handy to get the cards you seek. Now that's the end of the spell cards. Now comes the trap cards. starting off with this trap card called Hunting Instinct. When your opponent special summons a monster, you can special summon one dinosaur type monster from your hand. That can come in handy. Now here's another normal trap card called Survival Instinct. You can remove from play any number of dinosaur type monsters in your graveyard you choose, and you gain 400 life points for each one you've removed from play. Here's another trap card called Volcanic Eruption. You can only activate this trap card during your own end phase. It's while you have Jurassic World active on the field. You destroy all cards on the field filled with this. Yeah. Oh, here's a continuous trap card called Seismic Shockwave. If you don't know what it does, I'll tell you. You only activate this card when a dinosaur type monster on your side of the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard. You select 3 of your opponent's spell and trap card zones. 3! Yeah. And your opponent cannot use those spells trap card zones. But you cannot select any of your opponent's spell and trap card zones that already have spells and traps in them. Those spell and trap card zones you select cannot be used. This trap card it's destroyed during your third standby phase after activating it. Then you return one dinosaur type monster from your graveyard straight to your hand. Can be any dinosaur type monster you choose. Now here comes another trap card called Magical Arm Shield. You professional duelists may recognize this trap as Joey's. Joey Wheeler's, that is. This card can come in handy. You activate only one in your opponent and declares an attack while you have a monster on your side of the field. You take control of one of your opponent's face-up monsters, except the attacking monster. When this monster is attacked instead, at the end of the battle phase, you return control of this monster to your opponent. Now here comes a counter trap card called Negate Attack. Now this trap card lives up to its name. When your opponent attacks, you can activate this card, and not only does it negate the opponent's attack, but it ends the battle phase altogether. Now this next counter trap is called Goblin Out of the Frying Pan. You have to pay 500 life points to negate the activation of a spell card and return it to the owner's hand. It won't matter what spell card your opponent activates, you just activate Goblin in the Frying Pan, Goblin Out of the Frying Pan in response. Now here's another counter trap card, the third and final counter trap. That's called On Malfunction. You pay 500 life points to negate the activation of a trap card and return it to its original position. So this is the final card in the deck, called Fossil Excavation. And like with the spell Lightning Vortex, this trap card requires you to discard one card from your hand to activate this card. But with this card, you select one dinosaur type monster in your graveyard and special summon it. An effect monster special summoned this way has its effect negated. When this card is removed from the field, you destroy that monster. And when the monster is destroyed, you destroy this card. So either way, whichever card is destroyed, the other goes with it. And that's the full Dinosaur Strike structure deck. If you have any questions or concerns about this deck, please leave a comment and in response. I'm the Yu-Gi-Oh! Critic, and I review all sorts of decks everywhere, along with packs.